They want me to change, they want me to change, but I ain't changing. Nah, I remain the same.
And you are not tuned into another episode of Intellectually Petty Radio, brought to you by M3S3 Clothing. Men make moves and suckers stand still. And as always, on the mighty Nerd DJs Radio Network. Shout out to DJ Johnny O. Shout out to Big Hef. Shout out to T Rex. You know, man, come on, man. I say it every week. I shouldn't have to, but you already know, man. I only fuck with legends around here. And today is absolutely no exception. We got the man, the myth, the legend himself, Twansac, in the building. What's going on, King? How you doing?
What's up, player man? Thank you for having me, man.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure of mine. The honor is all mine, man. How's your family doing?
Man, everything is good. We getting ready to put some ribs on the grill for Memorial Day weekend and sit back and relax, man.
Must be nice. I got to work all weekend. Ain't that a blip? My bad. So how's life, man? What you doing? What's new?
Man, really? Yeah, man, life is good, man. I really just been blessed to stay on this journey of music. I've been in the game almost 20 years now, hitting my 40s, so now I'm kind of in that vibe where I'm kind of thinking in the mindset of Master P and taking the game to the next level with the business and try to help the young and up and coming artists navigate through this volatile business of this ever changing music industry.
All right, so you go from being signed to Universal, if I remember correctly, to saying, you know what, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna do it independently. From day one to right now, what's the best improvement and the worst?
Well, back then, this was like the early 2000s when I pretty much had a record deal from all eight major record labels for a song record that I had called Cadillac Love. And I had knew enough about the business to read the imprint of the language. And, it's also a shout out to my guy, Tech Nine. At that time, he was actually battling to get out of Universal's deal to go independent. And so just chopping it up with him and just weighing out the options. Basically, it was given an option. Either you want to have a career or you want to be overnight and out the game, so I chose independence, and here I am 20 years. And I would say that the major difference is loving and being able to do exactly what I want to do, release the music when I want to do, and move around how I want to move around.
Yo, Tech Nine is I don't know, maybe Tech Nine, maybe Too Short, maybe E40, as far as, and Esham if you from Detroit in the Midwest. But I'll say those brothers, as far as like the independent game, probably like the Mount Rushmore independents. What? Give me a couple of tidbits that he's giving you along the way, some gems that we could share with some people that's going through the same thing you went through.
I would say the biggest gem is 100% control and ownership. As you know, a lot of people know, you sign that deal to the record label, pretty much sign over your name, your music, and everything that comes along with it. So, and I wasn't prepared to do that, So I think that was the biggest gem he gave me. It kind of made they kind of made it easy to choose the route I wanted to take.
Are you holding your phone?
Yeah, yep, I'm holding it.
Oh, set it down, bro. You'll be all right. Just throw it up against something,
Yeah,
cause
this
you see it moving.
yeah, yeah, hold on real quick, bro. Because
Yo,
my
and I
stand
went back.
right when I was logging, my stand
I went
broke
back
right
and
when I
listened to
was
some of your
logging in.
shit too, bro. I went back and listened to
Yeah,
some of your music, bro. You had some heat.
man, I think the music was ahead of its time, man. To be quite honest, yeah, the gang was transitioning from gangster rap, and I was really on the weed rap and the laid back rap, in the early 2000s before people even thought it was popular or whatnot. And at the end of the day, there was an underlying message with the music, and it was hope and just moving forward, understanding the business. And at the end of the day, it was all about keeping it 100% and keeping it real. We really couldn't rap or talk about anything in our lyrics unless we were actually doing that. So if you heard my music, you pretty much know who Twan is.
So you grew up in Kansas, right? Kansas City.
Correct. Correct.
All right.
Wichita.
Wichita. What's Wichita like?
Wichita was the middle of the map. I think Wichita produced some of the greatest hustlers, and the reason why is because we are influenced from being in the middle. We influenced from the west, we influenced from the east, we influenced from the south. So I think that with it being as small as it is, we were able to think outside the box. People say Wichita is country, and it is country, but it's not farms and cows like they say it is. It's pretty much set up just like how LA South Central is. So to be able to navigate out that, I think it tremendously helped me conquer this national giant as far as the music business goes.
All right, and then you move where to Arizona.
Then I moved to Phoenix, Arizona. Correct.
All right, is that where you still at?
I'm still here. I'm between Phoenix, Atlanta, and Dallas. I gotta basically connecting the pipeline from the Bay Area all the way to the Carolinas.
So, and you doing and I had the Smoke and Ride Mix show.
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, what? How long have you been doing that, and what exactly is that?
The Smoke and Ride Mix Show, we started it roughly about how I kind of got the idea is I was able to assist Miss Deb with the B100 platform for a short amount of time. And in
Hmm.
that process, I was inspired to help
And
independent artists.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you're talking about Anthony.
Correct.
All right, my bad.
Yeah, no, you are,
Well, you
you did.
dropping a lot of names, nigga. I need people to know who you talking about.
I mean, really, it's the only one Miss Deb. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, nah, but I got inspired from being around with her approach of helping independent artists, and I saw the mix show platforms as another outlet to help artists. So we started the Smoke and Ride Mix Show with my guy DJ Cadence, who is a core DJ out of Wichita. We've been doing music since day one. We
Hmm.
started the Smoke and Ride Mix Show about 3 months ago, with really only the intention to being about 3 or 4 shows, and so far now, with just in 3 months, it's grown to about 20 different platforms.
How? How you do that? I need the secret.
Work. And again, I use the Wichita mentality is we have to think outside the box. So with it being a business, it was very simple to me. Market what we do, and really what we set out to do difference is we combine old school, new school with a little bit of in between. And we also know there's a lot of need for music from the era of, I would say, 2010 to 2020 really didn't get the push like other music did, and I think a lot of that has to attribute to the streaming platforms coming into the market.
Okay, who's the goat from 2000 to now, hip hop
Um,
wise?
Hip hop wise, that's a great question. I think that a lot of the ones that I would consider would be the dope ones that could lead our generation for to come. They're all passed away. And I look at Nipsey, big fan of Nipsey, big fan of Young Dolph, and rest in peace to those two. But I thought those two were great legends, great
Hmm.
pioneers. I'll be quite honest, in the last 5 or 6 years, the music started to sound all the same. So it was hard to differentiate, who's actually dope and who's not. And then the ones that I thought was dope, they end up going to jail or, like I said, dead. So right now the game is wide open, and that's kind of where I got the Master P theory of is, if you can get in position and get 10 artists up under you and run them through distribution, let them keep their masters, you got a chance to put an imprint on the game. It's wide
Yeah,
open
but
right now.
can you get niggas to stop telling on themselves?
Nah, that's why you got to catch them younger. You can't if you catch a nigga between 18, 19, and 25, he's probably a good chance that he gonna tell, or he's just captivated to what the industry shows them, and that's this fake shit that's on Instagram. These likes, these views. So I actually go to 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, to where they're not tainted by life yet. Those are the ones that I would put my time and investment into, and to be honest, everybody else that I have put my time and investment to, I'm like 0 for 15 on that aspect. And there's one key thing that's missing with most of those artists. You know what that is?
I don't.
The hustle. They have no, you can give a nigga 50 t-shirts and say, here, bro, go take these 50 t-shirts, bring me back 300. And you might have to call him back 6 months and he's still sitting on 40 of the 50 t-shirts. So they don't really understand that the game really never was based on talent. Talent might have got you in the door, but it's always been about marketing. It's always been about hustling, and it's always been about, as we call it, the independent way, going out there and making a name for yourself.
But is it that the hustle is no longer about like the merch? At least from what I'm just an old nigga to just watch from the sidelines. But from what I see, like the merch is a byproduct of success now, as opposed to in concert with the growth.
Yeah, it
So
just flip. The game just flip flop, and now your consumer, reason why merch and those things are so important is because the consumer is looking for tangibles. That's why CDs and all that so big time, because they buy CD and then they come to the show and get an autograph. Now they have
yeah,
a tangible to showcase, where they met you at or whatnot. So the game is just actually, when I say flip flop, it used to be you get on the radio. Once you get on the radio, you was pretty much gonna get set up for a deal.
yeah,
Now you can get on the radio and it really doesn't even matter because the consumer is not really what I would say, me and you old niggas, as they would say, you know what I'm saying? So the consumer that listens to the radio now is your average soccer mom, 70 to 80% of music is purchased by suburban America. So I think we lost touch with our own communities. I think the OGs and the newbies, I think there's a big disconnect between those two. And when you
man.
disconnect that, you lose wisdom, and you
You,
also lose the know-how. And these niggas is just out here blind, bro. They just have no
you know
clue.
what's crazy is I literally posted today that I think Cardi B may actually be the best at reaching back to help up and comers, maybe in the history of hip hop, if you want to be honest. Like she seems to go out her way to just pick young people and say, hey, I fucks with your music, whether or not they popping or not. I fucks with what you doing. Let me add my talents to it, or let me add my brand to it, or I'll post you, or whatever the case may be. Why aren't more old heads doing that?
Well, I think Cardi B is different than the other old heads because it was twice as hard for a female to get in, right? And so usually people that go through the hardest struggles, those are the people that's more willing to help the next one get to the next level, And so, with Cardi's rise to success, I think she had a lot to go through. And so when you're an artist and you understand what it takes to get there and the heartaches and all that, sometimes it humbles you and really under divine intervention, that's kind of what your purpose in life is. Your purpose in life is to help others. So she's a prime example of let me get in the door. And I look at it like this: it's like the SWAT. Usually when you have a SWAT call to an intruder's house, the first person kicks open the door, he's probably the one that's going to get shot more than the rest. And then
Facts.
the person that's in the back, they are the one that helps secure the perimeter. So, Cardi, she kicked the door open and she was able to secure the perimeter. And another person that I like doing that same as well is J. Cole. J. Cole is real big on finding artists on YouTubes with, less than 100 views and really reaching out to them and taking them somewhere.
You know who else I saw do that? Tyler the Creator. I saw a video of him yesterday. He was like, yeah, I forget who the kid's name was, but he was like, I found so and so, and the nigga literally only had 6 views on his video.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope. But when you look at that grand scheme of things too, it's so much involved in this. You got the evil fight versus the good fight. And right now you're starting to see the emergence of the good-hearted people. As the Bible says, the good shall, the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. So it's our turn. It's our turn to be first, and we're just starting to connect. I appreciate you for having me on this wonderful platform. And this is just an example of how two brothers can work together that come from nothing and can build a platform, connect with each other, and then send this message out to the world and hopefully inspire that next person to become successful.
Man, yo, how did you meet Tony Neal?
It was crazy how I met Tony Neal. So Me and DJ3 are from the same city. DJ3 was Tony Neal's vice president at the time for the Court DJs. And so I would say about 2015, 2016, after being out here in Phoenix, I got a lot of notoriety. I saw the biggest piece that Phoenix was missing, which was the industry plug. So I had reached out to DJ3. DJ3 plugged me in with Tony, and I was able to bring the Core DJ Retreat to Phoenix to open up the door for some of these guys. And in the process, is just a true story. I hadn't really heard about Tony or knew who he was. So with me again, and this is just a tad bit of being independent. We have to figure out creative ways to keep our name out there and get to the next level as well. So I Googled Tony's name, and I seen he was on live one day, and Tony had like fucking 10,000 followers on his live. And when I Googled his name, I didn't see his website or a central platform for those followers to go to. And so I directly messaged him saying, Tone, I said, man, I think you're missing out how to monetize your platform. I have some ideas. Let's jump on a conference call. And he granted that. And once we jumped on that call, I basically took the independent mind state, which is we need to start with your website. I built him a website that had analytics tracked in the back so we know exactly where his followers, his people were coming from. And then I introduced him to the merch game. Now, neither one of us thought that it was going to take off the way he did. He had this platform called the Slow Jam Mixtape. So we dropped his first piece of merch was just regular Slow Jam Mixtape logo. We dropped it at midnight. By the time we woke up that morning, Tony had over $25,000 worth of sales from one T-shirt. And if a nigga show you how to make money, he gonna bring you close to him. And so that was the start of me and Tony's relationship.
So are y'all still cool?
No, we still cool. We nothing but respect for Tony. He's iconic. Again, when I think about independent, I was under his wing for about 5 years, and I got to a space to where I almost started to forget who Twan was. And I had a vision that was, super, super huge, and 15 years of experience, way before I had met Tone. And so I started to feel like, I was leaving me to the side. And some people can say it's an ego, but I've always bet on myself. And, I took that bet on myself, and it worked almost overnight. So we kind of just parted ways. We haven't really spoke since we parted ways, but, nothing but love and respect for Tone.
How do you discern between when the ego is working for you or when the ego is taking over?
Well, when your heart's in it, most of the times it's a true feeling. And I think what differentiates me is I'm an actual Pisces. And so a Pisces is Pisces is very intuitive, and we don't mind taking second fiddle. We don't mind sitting on the bench and being the sixth man until it's time for us to be in the game. But we also know that, when it's fourth quarter and we down by 2 points, I'm the one that needs to have the ball in my hand, and so I decided to have that faith. I decided to put the ball in my hands, and if I hit the three, I'm a hero. If I miss, then it's a learning lesson.
The biggest lesson, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. The most positive outcome of that separation and biggest regret.
The biggest outcome is, again, being faithful. Is it brought me a lot closer to God, because I didn't understand what was going on at the time, because, again, being a Pisces, I'm just loyal by nature. It don't matter who it is, I'm loyal. And I started to feel like maybe my loyalty was being taken for a weakness or whatnot. And so, the biggest game was just the fact that I still had the courage to step out. And a lot of the people, they saw, once I stepped away, they saw the impact of what I helped Tone build as far as, his Slow Jam brand, as far as adding on to the Core DJ platform. And I looked at it, me and Tom both street niggas, and I looked at our relationship like, Bumpy Johnson and Frank Lucas, and sometimes sometimes people want to do more than what they're capable of doing. And all I
Mm,
wanted to for Tony was he's iconic. He's the boss, and sometimes the boss don't want you to know he's even in the boss. He's even the boss. So I just wanted Tone to sit back, trust me, let me handle this, let me take it to the next level as far as the marketing side. And I'm gracious and thankful because of that. And with the 5 years, I've met a lot of industry people. I saw a lot of the inside to the industry, the do's, the don'ts, what works, what don't work, or
mm,
whatnot. And so, and at some point, Tone actually, he brought me. My father had passed away. Tone, he stayed with me. He brought me out of my depression. So,
mm.
there is nothing bad out of that situation. The only
That's
thing is
what's up.
bad the only bad thing is it's just a common where you see even with entertainers that are in groups. Sometimes when you have two alpha males that work, sometimes it's just a natural process, and that's just how it happens. And in my case, I believe it was just God telling me, "Hey, Twan, it's time for you to go. Take your vision to the world, and it's your turn." And so I listened to that message, and sometimes that's just how it happens.
I look at that as a positive, an extreme positive on both parts. In that a great leader, a good leader picks good talent, but a great leader picks people that can replace them
Correct.
and aren't in fear of that. They understand that at some point the person that they pick is going to want to do their own thing, and that's probably the beauty of Tony Neal. It's like I'm not afraid of you wanting to do exactly what I do. There's nothing wrong with that. And the beauty with you is saying, hey, you know what? I want to do exactly what you do without being messy about it.
Right. And I think
Still
that's what
hold my dignity and respect and showing that reverence to you.
right, and I think that's why we complimented each other because we did. I'm naturally an artist, and he's naturally a DJ, so we never was stepping on each other's toes.
I feel you.
And I think in hindsight 2020, when you talk about the ego side of the game, I think we're both super competitive, and we would talk every day, every morning, and I'd be like, Tone, nigga, look, I got this. He'd be like, nigga, I got this. We got super competitive, and this is what happens just naturally along the way. We were moving, we had the Shade 45, we had a lot of things going, and I personally wasn't centered. I
Hmm.
wasn't centered where I was supposed to be within my purpose, and
Okay.
we kind of both let our egos get in the way, and
Okay.
we had something big and beautiful, and for some reason it just it faltered in the end.
All right. So you run across Luda.
Yep.
Did you guys have a relationship, or was it just like a couple fleeting moments and he gave you some game and you kept it moving?
Man, we talk about this still to this day, man. My boys was ready to whoop Luda's ass, man. I'll be real 100 with you, man.
Talk to me
Um,
about that one.
the good thing about being in the Midwest and Wichita, there's not a lot of people. I didn't have a lot of artists to fight for opening slots. So Luda, and shout out to DMX. That's we'll talk about that later. But that's how it was able to get to Phoenix was because of DMX. But I was able to open up for Luda, DMX, and Fabulous. And I had picked DMX up from the airport. And at this point, these are the first celebrities that I've ever met on my journey besides Tech Nine, and it was my biggest first show ever. It was like 10,000 people. So Luda was just coming out. He was hot. I was a big Luda fan. Cadillacs. I was just a big country fan of Luda's, and so I had an opportunity to meet him backstage before he was about to go on to the show. And so I had my CD. I said, Luda, my name is Twansac, man. I'm a fan. Here go my CD, man. If you get a chance, check me out. Basically just trying to get my imprint into his hands. He looked
Right.
at the CD. He said, "Oh, that's nice." I said, "Nah, Luda, this is yours." He said, "Nigga, what the fuck do I need a CD for?" Just like that. He said it just like that. And and keeping in mind, I'm wet behind the ears. I know shit about the industry. Man, he said that shit. I'm with 15 of my niggas. I looked over at my cousin. He said, "Man, you want to whoop this nigga?" And
So you
the
had a
street
hustle and flow moment.
Man, that nigga did not act in Hustle and Flow. He was being himself in Hustle and Flow. Nigga, he said, nigga, what the fuck do I need a CD for? Just like that. And I remember
Yo.
I-20 was in the overalls with his t-shirt on, little skinny nigga, and only thing that stopped us from me calling my dogs off was we had just got on the radio at home, which was monumental. My program director never played local music. So that was the only thing that stopped. But it's those moments that gave me the fire and motivation to keep going. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, my guy, is the journey of these stories to be able to tell. I was there. I was part of that. And I basically took an idea from my head. I wrote it on a piece of paper. I went to the studio. I recorded it. I was able to touch the masses and inspire people, and now travel across the whole world, with that. And so, again, when you talk about guys like the Tony Neals, those are checkpoints to let me know that, it was we both were gifted and we both were supposed to be a part of this game. And so I just stay down with it, bro. And it's just such a beautiful thing.
So at some point, Luda ended up giving you some game and basically told you to dumb down your lyrics. Was that
It,
the
it
same
wasn't.
night?
No, it wasn't Luda that actually said dumb down the lyrics. It was more or less once I got done performing that, because again we were rapping street music, and street music, as you know, is different than independent. I'm sorry, it's different than mainstream music. So
Facts.
it wasn't so much dumb down the lyrics. It's more, well, how can you put your music out there and reach the masses with your stories by being who you are. And I just use Ludacris as an example of when you hear Luda rap and you hear Luda's song on the radio the first time, by the time you hear it the second time, you already know half the song. You know what I'm saying? So it was always Luda that was referenced to. Okay, Twan, if you make your rap legible to where they can understand it and make it heartfelt, you that might be what is your difference in getting into the game at that time. Again, early 2000s, gangster rap, 50 Cent, Eminem, all these were hot guys. And shout out to the Nellies and the Jaquans and the Chingies, because they were the guys that kicked open the door, which made it possible for me to be heard.
Yo, your man Chingy, man, like I remember what MTV show was that the Ashton Kutcher had that he was pranking motherfuckers.
I know what you're talking about. I forget the name of it.
Oh, and this nigga Chingy just like literally snitched on his boy, and his shit was never the same, bro. Respectfully to Chingy. I'm
Yeah,
sorry, man.
once you snitch, bro, I mean it's acceptable now. You know what I'm saying? A nigga can snitch and he gonna come on with a fucking Rolls Royce and all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, back in those days, once you see, I mean, and as you can see, that career never,
Oh,
uh,
it never rebounded.
it never rebounded. But what's crazy is Chingy still gets booked on the Millennium Tour. He's still out there, and he's able to. He's an example of taking your name, making it a brand, and then being able to sustain off of your brand.
What are your thoughts on Nelly?
Nelly's a pioneer. When niggas was laughing about the singing shit, Nelly he stuck to those guns. You know what I'm saying? And still to this day, freshman record, no features, 10 times platinum. So the game needed a sound. It needed a different sound than what they were tired of hearing, and that's why I use today's game as it's being wide open. The auto tune sound is at its end. Rest in peace to guys like Takeoff. But now the world is looking for a new sound, and that's why you're starting to see the emergence of boom bap rap or Afro beats. And so when I think about Nelly, I think about he created his own sound. Nobody sounded like him before, and nobody sounded like him after.
You ain't lying about that. Like I will like he wasn't the first to do like the sing song melodic shit, but it came from such a different place.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
like low key, like, and I've had speech on the show before from Arrested Development. Like I'm gonna and I told him like you pretty much don't get the credit for creating that sound, but he might have been the first one to create that sing songy flow.
Yeah, and I think you might be right with that, and I think Nelly just was able to get it out to the masses, and we see that tragedy happen all the time. There's a lot of great, like I pretty much with the Shade 45 tour, I've been in every city over the last two. I mean, every city, every major
Hmm.
city, and there's so many dope artists, but they don't get that shot, and I'm not for sure why. Nelly just happened to have it. He was perfect because he had the city of St. Louis behind him,
Hmm.
from sports. He was already charismatic or whatnot, and so again, it's a business. It's not so much about talent,
And
because
that's
if
what
it
it
was
is.
just yeah, if it was strictly about talent, then it wouldn't have been Nelly and the St. Lunatics. Yeah, it would have just
Yeah.
been the St.
Yeah.
Lunatics. But
Yeah. But I mean,
so
and I think that's what it is that a lot of cats, like they they may be like I knew a cat, rest in peace, Pop. This nigga was one of the most talented MCs I've ever heard. Period, bar none. It's not even close. But that talent made him arrogant.
right,
You should, somebody's supposed to come sign me. And what you need is a good dose of talent, a good dose of humility, and a good dose of how to deal with the politics.
right, right.
And that
Well,
shit don't come along often.
and I'm glad you said that, and that's why I feel like where I'm positioning myself in the game, I feel like I can be the liaison in between that, because a lot of these guys just don't know, and the game really, bro, it just come down to money. If you want to
Yeah.
be on the Grammy awards and be nominated, there's a price for that. And in our era, we was in the mud, we was in the streets. It wasn't nothing to go slang something and come back and have 20, 30 racks to play with. These guys, they don't have that opportunity to do that. So I just feel like there's an underlying game going on within the hip hop industry where they're actually now using hip hop as a tool against us. And that's a whole nother subject.
I will say that this generation's goals have changed. Like maybe 30 years ago, like the goals of a lot of MCs was to get Grammys, or at least to get recognized as an entity of music. And now, like it's a lot of cats that realize that you can get rich without getting signed, without getting radio play. You really don't need the machine if you know exactly what you're doing as far as the social media game, because I've seen it.
Absolutely. The social media, which when my record was hot, which was called Cadillac Love, and they tried to sign me. We talk about Universal. They wanted to sign me and Lloyd at the same time, the R&B guy. And Lloyd, he signed. I chose not to sign, and his first single was Cadillac Love. And me, I worked my record on my own, no radio budget. I'm pulling up to the station with pizzas, acting like the pizza delivery man, and I'm getting airplay. So when his record hit, BET Uncut, I was on all of that. So when his record hit the system, now I'm overpowered by the machine.
So
Okay,
wait a minute. They intentionally put out a song with the same name as your song.
absolutely.
Wow.
And it's right on the internet. The song is called Cadillac Love. His first single release was called Cadillac Love.
Like
So
I
in
seen your
essence,
shit today.
yeah,
I didn't know he had one too.
absolutely. Yeah,
Wow.
that's a backdoor blackball. So when you go through that, you kind of have no choice but to be independent.
Yeah, that's fucked up, bro. I'm not even, I don't know how to say it no other polite way. Like that's fucked up, man. Did that man? That's got to be disheartening.
Bro, it just is disheartening until you realize like where I am today. You know what I'm saying? Because if I would have took that deal, bro, I would have been fucked, and my career would have been over as quick as it start. And I always use Fetty Wap as an example. Fetty Wap had four number one hit singles. Now Fetty Wap has 6 years in the federal penitentiary for drug trafficking. You know what I'm saying? So,
I don't know if you can. You can't really correlate the two. Like that's a bad decision on Fetty Wap's part.
well, the reason why I correlate the two is because the fame is people. You either choose the money or you choose the fame. And people don't really realize that just because you sign to a major artist, you got four number one, that don't mean that you're paid. You know, if your paperwork ain't right, the labels just use you for that. You know, and I think that's what the tragedy is with that. Once you go two number one singles, you should be locked in the contract like LL Cool J forever, but
Damn.
that's not how the game is. So I said, man, I'd rather sell 10,000 copies at $10 and get 100 grand than sell 100,000 copies at $1 and get 100 grand.
That.
I might not touch as many as people you can as at one time, but what I can do is build a cult following, and that's kind of what's happening now. Is those people that were my fans when I were 20, now their kids are turning 20, and it's like I'm rebirth all over again. If
Cause
I would
they
have stayed
parents
on,
is listening to that shit.
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I
So,
don't have to, I have access directly to the consumer now. So you can
so
make a bag. If you go look on Spotify, there's a lot of people who have millions and millions of streams. You'll never hear their name because they've understood that this is a music business. Twansac is actually a product. So long as I get more out of the product that I put into it, I'm successful at it.
okay, I feel that. So talk to me about the DMX situation.
DMX, man, I feel like bro was like an angel. And I remembered, like I said, it was in June of 2003. And what was so crazy is we had our sound check right after DMX is at the Coliseum, and this guy actually stood in front of the stage and listened to our sound check. And he pulled me to the side. He said, "Bro," he said, "Man, you got a South and a West Coast." He said you kind of flow like the West Coast, but over Southern beats. And now, keeping in mind, I'm heartbroken still early about this Universal Cadillac Love bullshit. So after the concert, they had an after party. Me and DMX are sitting right next to each other. He needing some weed. I got some weed. I'm starstruck. I'm like, man, this is fucking DMX, bro. He
Right.
said, "Yo, you got some dro?" I'm like, "Shit, yeah, I got some dro." So in the process of just that 2 hours, man, I got to see a real brother. You know what I'm saying? And he was just so genuine, fam. And I was like, "X, man." I said, "Bro, I'm hungry out here, man." I said, "Any opportunities, man? Let me know." And he told me about Phoenix. He said, "I'm in Phoenix right now, and I'm shooting a movie called Never Die Alone." He said, "You should come check it out." He said, "It's wide open, especially for the independent side." He said, "You come out that way, you might be able to do better than what it is here at Wichita." And so that's kind of how it started. So shit, the next week I flew to Phoenix. So I heard about this studio called the Sawmod Studio. I book an hour at the studio. I walk in the studio and guess who's there? DMX. So I said, this must meant to be. And my first song that I ever wrote, pen and paper, was to "I'm slipping, I'm falling, I can't get up." So at that point, it's not an ego. At that point, you realize that, damn, this is my purpose. I'm arrived. I'm here. And so it was that interaction with DMX that allowed and gave me the confidence that, damn, maybe the independent side might be the way. And I also, over the years, got closer to him, and I saw the fight. I saw the demons attacking him, and I saw him he go to Walmart, he go to the hood bars, and he just was, he was just inspiring, dude. You know what I'm saying? So DMX was really a physical angel here on this planet.
Excuse me. Wow. Yo, you hear stories of motherfuckers that you don't never get a chance to actually talk about DMX, and you kind of wonder, is they just bullshitting because he done passed on? But damn, bruh.
Yeah, dead ass. Yeah,
Yo, that's
yeah,
crazy. So,
yeah.
so he the reason you out there.
Yep, he's the reason he put, because when he said Phoenix, we thought desert. Again, I'm from Kansas, we don't know shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, Phoenix, and man, when I came out to Phoenix, bro, it's such a oasis out here. It's a city of 7 million. people. And meanwhile, I'm already in the independent state of mind. So I'm wrapping trucks and I'm retail ready out the packaging. And when I got to Phoenix, wasn't nobody doing that. So I say, you know what? This is the theory I'm gonna take. I got on the radio at home and I went from the radio to the streets. I said, I'm supposed to reverse engineer this. I'm supposed to build my name in the streets first, hand to hand, damn near, and then I'm gonna see if I can get to the radio. And I saw the difference between the two. When you go from radio and then to the streets, they don't really
Hmm.
respect that. But when you
Yeah.
go from the streets to the radio, they say, man, I bought that motherfucker shit at the car wash. Now those people are really, they become really cult following fans,
You know what's
and so
crazy? I can't remember which video it was, but there was a comment where somebody literally said they bought a CD of yours from the car wash and took that shit to the West Coast.
yep, yep.
Yeah,
I went through about 100,000 copies in the span of about 5 years when I first touched down in Phoenix. And so
that's a nice living.
I was seeing so much, and it was there on a daily basis. I'm collecting $500 or $600 out the streets, and bro, I ain't got to sell no dope. It's all legit, and I'm raised by a single mother and a preacher all together, my grandfather. So I just felt like with the trials that I had to overcome, I felt like God was blessing me. And so now, since God is blessing me, now I have to figure out how do I take this craft, because once you get one fan, you owe yourself to that fan, and so now
Mm.
it's up. So now I have to develop myself and say, okay, really, what is you talking about, Twan? Like, really, what's your message? What you really trying to get out here? And I think that hand-to-hand combat and getting to see these different personalities, and then also getting to see the work ethic as far as it paying off immediately. I couldn't go no other way, bro.
Yo, and I don't know if you got a chance to hear the intro song, but you know that's Richie Evans.
That's my guy. Absolutely.
Yeah, I had him on the show before, man, and that's probably like Legends Never Die, man. It's probably like, and it's fucking my money up too. I'm not even gonna lie. I've only used this is the second time I've used it, but I can't. They fucking with me because of the copyright shit.
They
But it's
cut it off.
oh my god, it's so fucking dope, man. And dude was just such a phenomenal interview. But like you don't hear too often anybody from Phoenix as far as hip hop is concerned, and it's you and him.
Yeah, Richie, man, it's funny because man, and it's just these are blessings when we have these type of conversations, because again, it lets me know that I'm dead on my purpose. But in 2009, and this is 6 years after Cadillac Love, all that shit died down, right?
Hmm.
And so I'm contemplating whether or not I should even be rapping at this point,
Right.
and I'm really about to hang it up because the streaming shit is about to start to come into the place. And now the value of, retail and all that is going away. Stores is closing. The money's slowing up. Distribution companies is going out of place. And so I'm sitting at a bar, true ass story. This girl had took a picture of her titties and I said, send it to me. And she sent it.
My
She
bad,
sent
bro.
it.
Go ahead.
True story. She sent it to the wrong person. And so the dude called her. He was like, man, who is this? And it happened to be a promoter for the All-Star Weekend thing. He was like, he said, that's Twansac. And he was like, put him on the phone. So right when I'm getting drunk, contemplating about quitting, dude gets on the phone. He said, hey man, he said, I've been trying to get a hold of you. He said, I need you and Richie Evans to open up for T.I. tomorrow for the All-Star Weekend. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, shit, hell yeah. So I guess I'm not quitting rap, And so I met Richie that night. He had this song called Everybody Knows Me. And just, there are some people that just have it. You can feel it, And me and Richie, we like even right now, we've been tapped in ever since, man. So salute to a good-hearted brother, man.
Yo, yeah, for whatever reason, man, like this journey has taken me to a lot of positive energy. Like the way you reached out. Some days I'm sitting there doing nothing, and for whatever reason, somebody said, "Hey, you know what? X, Y, and Z," or I just happen to be scrolling through something, and somebody just that energy of whatever I'm looking at is like, and then I understand basically. Long story
Yeah.
short. You know,
Yeah, it's been tough, bro, because when I go back to the tail end of Mentone, here's how the devil works. If you look at basketball, right? Let's just use basketball. First,
okay,
second, and third quarter, the game is up and down. But if you up in the fourth quarter and you the home team, the other team's job is that now you start to see the game happen. Now they shooting faster, they coming at you.
yeah,
And that's the same way the devil works. You know what I'm saying? So with that analogy, I realize I'm in the fourth quarter and the ball's in my hand. You know what I'm saying? And so now it's really gravitating to, it really is a spiritual fight out here. It's the good versus the bad. And I think that that's what this music has always done. Music has always connected the real ones, and has also connected the fuck shit as well. You know what I'm saying? And so again,
yeah.
going back to what I said earlier, it is our time and it is our duty to give these guys the game. And if we can, like you mentioned with Cardi B, if we're in a position to be able to get them or inspire or help them get on, guess who's gonna bless you for that? The man upstairs, and you'll be able to continue to live off of this until you say, you retire, till you done. So it's a blessing, bro. And salute to you, man. I love the way the platform came along. I remember when you first started, and I reached out to you, and you didn't hesitate to reach back to me. And I think that this is a start of a great relationship, and I see some things that you and I can build up on, and let's help the next generation.
Oh man, I'm always on that shit, man. Like I love, like I don't talk to everybody that I've had on the show after the fact because some people just don't want to be bothered. They want to do their shit and keep it moving. I'm not mad at you, but those people that you can't have that relationship with, man, that's why I do the show.
Dope, dope.
You know,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a dope name. You know what I'm saying? And and shout out to the OGs, Johnny O, good dude. Shout out to Hef. You know what I'm saying? And
oh
I've
my
been
guys.
yeah, and I've been around the whole circuit, so I know who's for who's for the game and who's really just taking money out the game and don't give a shit about the game. And
Man.
and that's kind of who's all connecting is we have, bro, if we don't connect. And if and this is my thing with the DJs, if the DJs and artists are the same, and the artist can't just rap and think he's got to do extra. And because we are in the digital age, I think a lot of the disconnect with some of the older DJs is the digital age is coming so fast, technology is going up so fast that it's kind of hard sometimes to stay up with the curve.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
And then
why
a lot
you
of
have,
motherfuckers refuse to stay up with it.
yep. Yep.
You
But
know.
that's why I keep the young niggas around me. You keep the young niggas around you. You always on and put your ego to the side. If you see a young nigga that can gas and go, put him out there. You
Cause
know
the
what I'm
shit's gonna
saying?
change whether you like it or not.
Yep. Whether you
You
like
can
it or
be
not.
involved or you cannot. It's up to
Yep.
you.
Yep.
You know. Matter of fact, speaking of that, give me some motherfuckers like recently and I mean really recently, like Scarlett for me. Oh my god, I've listened to a couple of her joints and she different. She reminds me actually of DMX a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
But give me somebody that I should be looking out for.
Artist wise, man, I think one the guy that's and he's a street rapper, but his flow and his sound is so fucking dope, bro. Big X the Plug out of Dallas, Texas. I'm not sure if you heard that name,
Never
but
heard of them.
Big X the Plug is dope. I know he had a lot of action at labels, looking to sign him as well. He's super dope. There's this chick that I've always been trying to track down. She's out of the Carolinas, and she goes by the name of Mary Mack. She came on when I was doing KOD King of Diamonds on Tuesday nights with Wale Coyote in Atlanta. She came through one night and she blessed the mic. And bro, I've been kind of stuck, and that's how I've always been. I've always listened to more up and coming dope artists than I have more so of okay, they just hit the radar now. I'm turned on to them. So I
Yo,
think those are two artists, and then one other artist. He's from Canada. I call him the strip club rapper. He goes by the name of Freak Boy. He's pretty fucking dope as well.
the free. Strip club rapper. And I'm looking for this because it's a sister, and I want to say she's from Texas. I actually got a chance to check her out. She did. La Russell had like a challenge, and damn, I cannot remember this chick's name, but it looks like she's kind of like fucking with that. Matter of fact, here it is right here. What is Driz the CEO? Yo, my
Yeah, I'm
guy.
not far. She dope.
Yo, my
Yeah.
guy. Nigga. Driz the CEO goes hard, bruh. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. I have no clue. Like I have no skin in the game. I don't know her from a can of paint, but I seen her do the challenge, and then I kind of looked at some of the stuff that she's done outside of the challenge, and your girl can flow.
That's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. Man, you know what's crazy is, I've been in, like you said, every market, with the Safe 45 platform, that's kind of, we turned it into a tour and gave artists opportunity to rock their music and then get heard by the millions of listeners. And it was crazy. And this is why I know that DJs and artists have to work together because prior to us starting the tour, I think the show had about 4 million listeners. By the time we were about the ninth or 10th city in, we had increased that listener base from 4 million to about 32 million people. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
And so
I
I
got like
said,
12 people listening to me, bro.
yeah, right, bro. Yeah. He said, well,
I'm being.
hey, it's better to have 12 solid motherfuckers listening to you than 100 fake motherfuckers listening to you. You know what I'm saying? If that was the case, but nah, that ain't the case, OG.
I'm telling you, man. How the fuck do a nigga get on Shady? And did you meet Eminem?
No, I didn't meet Eminem, but here's another tragedy to the story. So, proof of D12. It was April of 2008. I had just got done rocking the show with ICP and St. Clown Posse at the Marquee Theater. I'm coming out the back, we smoking, and I recognize dude voice from. I just recognize his voice. So he hears the record Cadillac Love playing. I'm pulling up and like he hears the record and he comes up to me and he was like, bro, he said, you Twansac? And I'm like, yeah. So, long story short, he had heard about me. And he said, man, he said, bro, he said, I'm going to go. I get in the house built in West Phoenix. He said, I'm going to Detroit. I'll be back next week. Let's sit down and chop about, and at this time, he had the Iron Fist label. And so I'm like, bet. I was like, well, shit, maybe I left Phoenix, left Kansas, and this is my shot. And bro, I remember it was Friday morning, whatever, it was either Friday or Saturday morning, and I looked on the news, man, and it said proof of D12 dead. You know what I'm
Nigga.
saying? And I just was again, it's like, damn, I'm so close, and these tragedies kept happening. And right there, but I damn near would have almost met Eminem, and it would have been gracious to be in that camp. But as you can see, life careened a different way.
You cannot possibly imagine how much of an imprint proof. Like I know Eminem sold gazillions of records or whatever, but as far as Detroit is concerned, proof was a god.
Yep,
Like it's
yep.
not, and
Proof,
it's not even close between the two, between him and M, or to be quite honest, him and anybody to be, if you want to keep it a buck.
yeah, it wouldn't be a him if it wasn't for proof. Straight up,
Facts.
it wouldn't be that. And that guy, when I look at proof and I look at Tupac, I look at some of the similarities and and even in today, and I compare it to some of these young man. When you get that fame at 20 and 21, 22, and you don't have the Master P's or the P Diddy or the people right around you to guide you, it's easy to fall into that realm. And I can't say
Yeah.
I didn't. When my bag was big, I'm fucking at the casino, and I shouldn't even be at the casino. I should have put that. I could be buying rental properties or whatever. But you don't really understand what that is until it happens to you. And when I look at people like the Dolphs, young Dolph, sometimes man, that money, when you get a lot of it, sometimes you think you above the nonsense and that's just not how that's not how. So the tragedy is still even though they were mature artists and ahead of their time, They still were young. You know, everybody goes
Yeah.
through a young and dumb phase, and unfortunately, they didn't make it out of theirs.
Yeah, you know, people think you can buy your way out the bullshit that you created sometimes.
Yeah, and look at
And you
NBA
can't.
young boy and Little Dirk. They're maturing. They're understanding that if we don't stop this beef, one, we're gonna have more dead homies, but two, we're losing our music. Rap is our strongest form of communication in the streets. I don't care what nobody say. It's our strongest form of communication, and we're losing that. And I see a guy like Post Malone. Post Malone is fucking dope. Don't get me wrong, but they don't give a fuck about your talent. They have the money that they can take anybody and make you a fucking mega star, a superstar.
Oh my god.
They can
What's
do
up,
that.
boy, out of fucking Kentucky with the movie?
Uh, you got Bubba Sparks from Atlanta. Uh, I know who you.
I actually fuck with Bubba Sparks. Like Bubba Sparks, like he actually put, like he came kind of through the trenches. But I'm talking about the dude, the young cat now that's in White Men Can't Jump, that they just are like for the white dude that they just trying to force onto hip hop, which like I don't have nothing against him personally. It's just the way that the machine is going about it, and it seems like they, him and what is it, Dickie something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lil Dicky, the rapper.
Little
Yeah,
Dicky.
he
Yeah,
dope though. That
yeah,
motherfucker can flow.
but they
But
gave him a stardom that he just didn't seem to earn.
right. Right. Well, I mean, look at it like this. So, in corporate America, as black men, if we don't have a degree, when we walk into those meetings and all that, we already two steps behind the eight ball, because we got
Facts.
to prove first of all we not a nigga, because that's how they look at us, right? And so corporate America belongs to them, and we have to earn our way. Well, in hip hop, it's ours. So the white boys have to do the same. And guess what? The white boys are doing. They are putting in the work. They're doing all the shit that niggas don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? And so those guys like that, it's not like they got lucky. They earned it. They earned their shot. You know what I'm
Man, I'm
saying?
not.
And
I think they're given opportunities that aren't given to other people
yeah, yeah,
because they know that what they look like. If they get like, if you get 4% street cred as a white dude, you are successful.
yeah,
Whereas
you,
a brother needs 97% of street cred.
yeah, yeah. I
And
mean, it's
and
that.
that 97% is so close to, like, you gotta have 1 foot in prison and 1 foot out of prison, and it could go either way. You see all the brothers as they locking up. Some of them is like just barely skating past that, but you need to balance that line to be quote unquote successful nowadays as a brother. A white dude just gotta say a couple of hard lines, and voila. Now Hollywood wants to get this nigga a 6 movie deal.
Well, I think we allowed that shit. You know what I'm saying?
That is true.
I think we allowed that shit because looking at who the listener is. We don't even support our own communities and listen to our own shit. And so if I'm a white dude in today's industry, I have a better chance of making it long term more than the black dude does, because the listener, especially on radio, is 70-80% suburban. And I use Phoenix and hurdles for like Richie. Richie fucking burnt it. He fucking killing it. He got a record with Rick Ross. I mean, he's on fire. But Phoenix has a problem of nobody. They never built with the consumers. You know what I'm saying? So you got rappers listening to other rappers. Niggas want to rap for other rappers and all kind of shit. So they lost their way. And when you
Yeah.
lose your way, this is what happens. And it's
Yeah.
been happening not just with hip hop, jazz, rock and roll. The white man, he not a thief. He just smart. He know that, okay, let a nigga be 1 foot in the pen. We gonna still sign him, but we also gonna go get an insurance policy on his ass. So
I'm gonna call thievery, but we can differ on that one.
hey, no nigga can steal from you unless you know he's stealing from you. You know what I'm saying? Like real shit. Like You have to be retarded to know a nigga stealing from you. You know what I'm saying? And these dudes, they don't steal. They just it's in front of them. They put it in a language, and they catch us where we see like just like my contracts. The first page says 700,000 for a single deal, but on the backside of it, it said no royalties, no rights. All I seen was 700,000.
Yeah,
You
but
know what I'm saying? So
most motherfuckers can't read hieroglyphics. And if you put the contract in hieroglyphics, you do you blame the person that is never seen hieroglyphics before, or do you blame the person that is fluent in hieroglyphics and wrote it in hieroglyphics intentionally?
I mean, that's a great question, and that's a great point. You know, and I guess if it's me, if you write some shit to me in some hieroglyphics, man, I'm going to somebody to decode this shit. I'm not
But
just
you a
going.
different that be the problem though, is that the ones that are successful think that everybody should think or look through their prism. And
Yep,
most people aren't capable of doing that. There's a reason Jordan was not a good coach, not a
yep,
good GM.
yep.
Because he looked at everybody through his prism. Why aren't you working as hard as me? Or why don't you have this particular, you were born with certain innate abilities that you had nothing, no control over having. You came out the
Absolutely.
womb with that, you know. But you've had it your whole life, so you can't consciously see why the rest of the world doesn't have that. Most of us don't have that blessing,
That's facts. I will say that's facts. That's dope,
you
though.
know.
That's facts.
You know,
And,
so
and I
most
re-
motherfuckers you give
and I
them.
really never thought about it like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I've always looked at a lot of this shit to be common sense. You know, and the more that I'm in it, the higher that I go, I realize that it is the gift. Because most artists, and I'm not no difference. It don't matter how long or how successful you be, you still at some point doubt yourself. You know what
Yes,
I'm saying? And so I think me as a human being, I fell into that self doubt at times as well. You know what I'm saying? And I just try to say, okay, it's just education. I just saw the common theme, even removing music from the platform and just in life. I just thought that being educated and not book smart, not college educated, but just knowing what's going on and what you're up against. You know, these niggas know how to throw up gang signs and they know how to break that down. Well, take the same energy and apply it on in this atmosphere, in this side of the game as well. And that's what I always thought was common sense. But again, I
yeah,
realized that that's
yeah.
what God
It's
gave me as the gift.
like you gotta think like especially motherfuckers that grew up in areas where like let's take Nipsey for example. What do you say he was third generation a gangbanger? So he was just an anomaly of in a sea of niggas that had absolutely no other vision but banging.
Hmm.
Niggas grew they mama bang. Like I interviewed a brother, shout out to Lil Sodi from the A Trey gangsters out in LA. His mama was a banger. His old man was a banger. So what you everything that you're seeing, the prism that you're seeing through is through colors.
Right.
So how you learning shit, it's not that you're incapable of learning, it's the booklets that you're given are different.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
Yeah,
And both my brothers, my brother did 28 years in the pen, and my other brother was shot 5, 6 times, and I just didn't want to go through that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like I was affiliated just by family, but I didn't want to go to the pen. I didn't want to be shot. You know what I'm saying? And so that's
nigga,
also as well as the blessing.
28 years, nigga.
28 years, bro.
Tell that
28.
nigga tell that nigga to come on the show, bro. We need to talk.
Absolutely, and he
I'm
and
dead
he's doing
ass.
well. He struggled coming out. He went back in for about a year. He came back out. We had a heart to heart talk. I told that nigga you was gone half my motherfucking life. You know what I'm saying? Like you was my protector. You was gone. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get out there and get this shit. And I think it was that last call that I had with him, and he came out, bro. He got in the trucking game. But the tragedy is now my nephew, which is his son. What do you think he did? He wanted to be like his father. So he got about 8 more years of his 20-year bid left.
Nigga, it's like 50 years between the two of them.
Man. And you can see it once they realize how dumb the shit is. You know what I'm saying? Like your homie ain't there, your set ain't there. You know what I'm saying? And then you get out. You know, and my brother was one of the first gang. He was one of the first. He was the pioneer, and he got out and no respect. You know, he thinking he can go by and check the little homies and all. They don't give two shit. Then brother, they'll kill your ass. You know what I'm saying? So
Nigga, you just a fossil.
yeah, yeah. And what's crazy is this motherfucker made more money in the pen than they do on the outside. So
Yo.
that's why they stay in the pen. You know what I'm saying? A motherfucker can send me 20 racks from the pen. That's shit's crazy to me.
Yo, nigga, I interviewed a brother not too long ago that did 24 years. He got a YouTube channel. Shout out to Chill, 16 to Life. You get a chance, check out his YouTube channel. Very, very dope. But this nigga was selling. He was like, you know what? I decided to sell cigarettes because it really wasn't no punishment, a real punishment for you. You get right up and you keep on moving. But nigga, like the money they was making off of tobacco
Yeah,
was fucking was insane.
man, that's dope. It's like real dope. You know what I'm saying?
God, man.
And that's even to this day, bro. That's why I be addicted to be around hood niggas and street niggas that come out the pen, bro, because they come out they education that they get, bro, be crazy. You know what I'm saying? And I remember when we didn't have no motherfucking microwave. Moms had left us some the ramen noodles that you put the water in, and we hungry than a motherfucker. We trying to figure out how to eat. This is all we got. We ain't got no microwave. We can't even cook. Man, bro, took a lamp. He cut the end of the lamp where the plug was at and wrapped the motherfucking splice wires around some toenail clippers and put the toenail clippers in the water and the noodles and that shit heated up, nigga. I said, bro, that shit turned me out. You know what I'm saying? I said, damn. And these niggas come out sharp, fam. So that's part of being educated as well, bro. And I think that's why I've been able to survive for all these years, man. You know, having the
I don't
books.
even. I don't want to have the need to know something that poor.
Yeah.
Respectfully, like nigga, that's poor, bro. I don't need that. I don't want to. I don't. Like,
Hey, but
nigga.
seeing it again, when you see it, you don't want parts of it, so you do everything and knowing that's why music has saved my life because I was able to see that shit as a youngster, and I said, man, this ain't some shit I want to be accustomed and used to. You know what I'm
Yo,
saying? So,
that's crazy. Yo, that is crazy. Yo, and I'm my bad. I know we kind of went over, man. Yo, is it if people want to get in touch with you, they want to get your services, they want to promote something, whatever the case may be, how they go about doing that?
it's Twansac.com. All the links is there. TWANSAC. You can see my whole music catalog, which dates back to the early 2000s. The Smoke and Ride Mix Show.com, just like it smelled, Smoke and Ride Mix Show. You can check out the links to all of our shows. They air from Thursday to Sunday. And then the blueprint that I've created for the industry after, again, been and watching, been next to Tone, been around some of the key players. I've developed a blueprint and a strategy that I know works from top to bottom. And that's Prophecy, PROFITCY musicgroup.com.
Yo, I gotta get me on the show one day, man. So we could talk strictly hip hop, so I can listen to some shit. Although I'm very
Absolutely.
opinionated, man. If y'all don't want, if the niggas don't want to hear that their music is trash, don't bring me on. Cause if your shit's
Man,
trash, I'm gonna tell you.
yeah, absolutely. And bro, it's crazy because I had to battle with that. The music that I was putting out, and you can still have the same formula, but again, this music is targeted now. You know what I'm saying? So I hadn't
Yeah.
dropped the last record I did was Jay White is from Kansas as well. Me and him go back to 2010, 11. You talk about Cardi B, he did Bodak Yellow. I Like It, Money. So Jay produced a lot of my last tracks, and I struggled with putting them out there because the music, I felt, one, it was changing so fast, and two, you know, what I was on really wouldn't have got the attention that it should have got the attention,
Mm-hmm.
because basically I write from experiences. Now that that music is back, I'm geared up in the lab, bro. I got the budget together, and you finna to see Twansac pull off the E40s, and as they say, the OGs got to stay in the game or whatnot. So. My heart has always been with the music, except for I just basically use the music to open the doors not only for myself, but for anybody else that have the talent to drive, that's willing to put the work in to walk through this volatile shit.
Yo, and if there's anything I can do to help, bro, just let me know. And tell that nigga 40, man, come holler at me. I need some drinks too.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna tap in, man, because this is your good brother. I watch you grow. I watch how you get down, and just to take an hour of your time to talk to a country nigga like me, that
Oh
means
man,
a
man,
lot.
if you don't get the fuck out of here with that bullshit, bro. Stop it, nigga.
Hey, but that means a lot, bro. No stone goes unturned. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I'm excited about getting to see what we can enhance or what we can do to help each other. What's
Oh,
my,
absolutely.
what I got, you can have. You know what I'm saying? And we just gonna
Absolutely,
continue to
bro.
keep
Let me
going, bro.
know. Yeah, we definitely gonna tap in, man. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shoot you my number, man, in the DM, man. So whatever you need, just hit me up.
Okay, let's get it, man.
All right, man. No doubt, man. Have a good one, man.
All right,
Appreciate you,
love, bro.
bro.
Appreciate it. Yep.
No
All right,
doubt.
one. All right.
Yo, and come on, man. That was Twansac, man. Very, very, very dope conversation. You already know, man. This is Jobs from Intellectually Petty Radio. Next week, next Thursday at 7 p.m., we doing table talk and some new shit that I done came up with, man. And we just gonna let just rent, people from out in the podcast sphere or wherever the fuck you at. If you want to come on the show, come on the show, and we're gonna talk some shit. I'll bring a couple of topics, but for the most part, you bring whatever you want to talk about, long as it ain't nothing ridiculous. All right. Again, this is Jobs. Shout out to Nerve DJs, and I'm out.
They want me to change, they want me to change, but I ain't changing, nah. I remain the same, even through the pain, I feel amazing. When I'm in heaven, they'll say I am legend.
Get remembered, legends never die. Heroes get remembered, legends never die. Heroes get remembered, legends never die. I'm legend, motherfucker. I'm legend, motherfucker.
Let's go, I'ma put y'all niggas on real shit. I'm a legend around here like Will Smith. I got a global grind, I got a mogul mind, I got $1 million mouthpiece, no me shine. Boy got gas, that straight lit. A1 shit, that Jerome Bettis. I talk that shit cause I live it, homie. Talk that bread cause I get it, homie. S550 with the pistol on me.